Hello friends and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Monster Dentist. It is a silly little game. We're going to be doing our best to drill every single one of a monster's teeth directly out of its mouth with a little drill. It's probably not for those of you out there who might be a little dental phobic because we will actually be drilling all of the teeth, like I said, completely out of the mouth. Not sure exactly why all the teeth need to go, but I'm going to assume there's probably some sort of tooth decay buildup that is leading to infection or something like that. So we'll be doing our best to do that as efficiently as possible as a timer ticks down, and also try to manage a pain meter to keep the monster from dying from too much pain versus also dying from having the timer run out. Not sure why the monster will die when the timer runs out. I'm assuming there's most likely a bomb implanted in the monster's brain that seems to have something to do directly with dental care. Lots of assumptions to be made, but still, let's give it a shot. Let's see what we can do, guys. So here we go. We are off. Couple of things to note here, and I'm probably just gonna let this one run down while we get accustomed to the controls, because they're not actually the most obvious thing in the world, although we don't necessarily need all of them. So we've got on Q and E, we can rotate the drill, and then on, what is it, Z and X, we can kind of go in and out of perspective. As you can see, reality and physics are not super concerned. In this particular case, we can go directly through the monster's face, and then the mouse itself is actually controlling where the placement is going in the drill. And I really like how the tongue moves out of the way, and also that if you hold down spacebar, a little dingler in the back of the throat there starts to wiggle around. So operation failed. We didn't even try to drill any teeth in this particular case, but I just wanted to show you what goes on with the controls, and I think that's most of what we need to know. We should be able to handle pretty much taking care of everything from there. So let's give it a shot. Not really a lot of orientation required to get things right, at least at the beginning. We're just going to drill right in. It's a particularly awful feeling thinking that you're actually completely eliminating the tooth from this thing's mouth by just using this tiny little pinpoint drill. I'm sure you can let your mind run wild with the exact technicalities of what that involves, but as someone who's had a couple of root canals, doesn't sound particularly pleasant to me, although I have to say, I think the rumors of root canals being as horrific as people say they are maybe a little bit exaggerated. They're not pleasant by any means, but I'd also, it wasn't the worst thing. Anyway, personal stories aside, so I'm doing my best here just to line up the drill bit with the edge of the tooth. It really doesn't matter how precise you are, which is a little bit unfortunate, actually. I was kind of hoping that maybe there would be specific targets that we would have to go for in the mouth, that maybe we'd be able to move the camera around and try and approach the teeth from certain angles. Just because maybe there was a particular cavity on one side that we needed to drill out or something like that. But no, this is basically a simple, easy game to get our minds around, nothing too complex at all. I'd say probably the most difficult thing that we're going to need to be able to do is flip the drill upside down to start to handle the top teeth. Although I think if we're really after things, we probably don't even need to go there either. We can actually just kind of lift them through the top of the mouth, which is also fine. So let's keep that in mind. I did put the sound rather low in the mix, so if those of you out there who are not particularly fond of hearing the drill sound, maybe you won't have to hear that quite as much, and I kind of appreciate that myself. Not that I'm squeamish when it comes to that per se, but it's just I know a lot of people aren't a huge fan. I was sort of hoping that with this game we might end up seeing maybe a whole diverse arrangement of different monsters with different dental problems that we would have to tackle. As it is right now, it seems to me that as far as I can tell, it's just the one, but I haven't actually finished this challenge. I only just spent a few moments working on this particular set of teeth, trying to get my head around what I needed to do for this task, and like I found out, not super complex. I think we're actually off to a fairly good balance here, and I'm wondering why, as a monster dentist, we don't have the ability to anesthetize our patient. That seems like a kind of an obvious thing that most dentists are rather well versed in, considering all of the pain that generally comes with dental care. But, you know, I guess it's a tough world where there are monsters. Sometimes you don't have the luxury of anesthesia, or maybe these particular monsters, maybe they're bad monsters, and we want to make sure that they suffer. Which also strikes me as funny, because if we want them to suffer, then we're also trying to manage their pain. I don't know, it seems a little bit contradictory to me. But we're sitting at about 10 seconds here, and how much do we get per tooth, by the way, for time? Because I actually wasn't really watching that. This is getting a little bit close, actually. We get 10 seconds per tooth, and that means that we are right down to the wire, and I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be able to make this one in time, or we're going to go down to the very last tooth here. This is close. Oh, I just barely got it, and I have 10 seconds. I'm going to just kind of like bounce back and forth in the hopes that this ends in time. It's probably not going to make it, though. Operation successful! I was down to, like, literally the last millisecond. I can't actually believe that I pulled that off. So, you now have a monster with no teeth. That's our desired goal, and that is an extremely creepy face that it is making as the tongue waggles back and forth to go opposite where my mouse placement is. I guess we'll wiggle. Is the uvula, that's what that's called? I don't actually remember, but anyway, we're wiggling that sucker, wiggling the tongue. And that is probably all there is to say on Monster Dentist, but it is an interesting little framework for a game. I was kind of hoping that maybe this would end up being the type of thing that gets developed further, but it looks like, as far as I can tell from the Game Jolt page, that the developers have moved on to other projects, and that's cool too. But, you know, if they ever wanted to revisit this concept, I imagine there's quite fertile ground for them to take this off in different directions. I'm just imagining all the different things that monsters could have going on, all the various dental issues, the various, you know, horns and protrusions and strange alternative mouths that monsters might have. They would probably need a lot of work done, and I think that we're probably the ones that could handle this. So if you integrated even more physics stuff, if you had more, you know, interactivity in one way or another, different dental tools, different criteria that we needed to solve, I think there could actually be a pretty serious game behind this concept. So if anything, not that there was a ton of things to actually talk about in this particular instance of what's here, but I think that it just could branch out into a lot of other things later on. So with that, I will leave you for another day. That was Monster Dentist. Play it at the link in the description if you so choose. And be sure to come back again tomorrow. New episodes of Indie Impressions go up every single day, so I hope to see you back for another one tomorrow. Thank you everybody for watching. As always, if you enjoyed the video, consider leaving a like on it. It helps me out a whole bunch. And I will see you back here for another one tomorrow. So have a fantastic night, and thanks for watching, everybody.